You might have seen breathless headlines lately about the Chinese smuggling in bioweapons to kill our crops. So about that. The Michigan Farm Bureau would like to remind everyone to take a breath. The people who got arrested for this are junior level scientists who are working to stop crop diseases that make you sick and wreck your beer. And it looks like they just didn't do the paperwork for bringing in samples to work, which due to red tape issues already happens way more than it should in crop protection research. All signs point to this being a red tape and permitting issue, not an international agroterrorism incident. Farm organizations, it's safe to say, are some of the folks with the best feel for how important U.S. agriculture is and the kind of damage that actual bioweapons against crops can do. And they are telling everybody to tone down the panic on this. And they're being ignored by many loud voices, primarily on the right wing, because so many folks are out there to try and make a name for themselves. And a good way to do that is try and look real big and bad with, look, we caught these evil bioterrorists. They don't actually know what's going on in agriculture or care about its needs at all, and how much we need research to keep our crops safe. It says a lot that so many news outlets are frothing at the mouth over this. But the one outlet covering it that actually deals with agriculture on the daily is saying, whoa. Easy there. So let's talk about what actually happened here, because this is a great example of how clickbait headlines can turn research on how to protect U.S. crops into a panic and/or international incident. This cancel culture is out of control. The plant disease in this case is Fusarium graminearum. This plant disease is already in the United States. Matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, I was talking shop with a grain mill here in North Carolina, and they pointed out, yeah, there's this new cultivar of wheat that we really like. When you grow it around here, it's prone to getting vomitoxin. Vomitoxins are a compound that can show up in grain that's been infected by Fusarium graminearum. It does pretty much what it sounds like. It really irritates the stomach. But vomitoxins are far from the worst fungal toxin out there. They don't even cause cancer, which other fungal toxins can do. Vomitoxins tend to cause the most problems in places where it rains a lot when wheat is ripening, like Scandinavia or here in the US South. Fusarium graminearum is already so common around the world that it causes billions of dollars in crop losses every year. The only reason a North Carolina mill would know that this fungus is a problem here is because it already grows here. Fusarium graminearum doesn't just stop at vomitoxin either. It can also wreck your beer. It makes proteins called hydrophobins, and if beer is brewed with grain that has hydrophobins in it, you'll get what they call gushing. Woo! It's out of control foaming when you open the beer, and half your beer winds up on the floor. And it only takes 3 parts per billion to make that happen and ruin an entire batch of beer. So safe to say, we are always looking for better ways to control Fusarium graminearum. Fungicides do work, but they cost a lot of money. Spraying a lot of fungicide is not a good way to grow staple crops that need to be affordable. Plus, with how much grain we grow, that would just take a lot of fungicide. That's why we have scientists all over the world working on new ways to stop crop diseases like Fusarium graminearum, and sharing samples and research and information with each other around the world. A big part of that work is growing it in the lab to understand exactly how it causes plant disease, because knowing that is how we figure out how to breed new wheat and other grain varieties that can resist it. It's pretty clear from all the evidence available at this time that these scientists brought Fusarium graminearum samples to the US to study them in a lab, a University of Michigan lab, for stopping the spread of plant disease. Studying strains of crop disease from other places is really important when it comes to breeding disease-resistant crops. There's no point in breeding a new wheat strain that can only resist 1 or 2 hyperlocal strains of this fungus. You want a wheat with broad-spectrum resistance. Now, how do you do that? You get a lot of different strains of this fungus from all over the world to find out exactly how they work. Breed wheat that can resist a lot of different types of attack from this fungus, and then you test that wheat against all these strains from all over the place to make sure it performs well in the real world before giving it to farmers. That's why scientists bring new strains of crop disease to their labs. This is a very normal part of doing the work of protecting agriculture. If these folks really wanted to do a bioterrorism by spreading new plant diseases around the US, they would have just done that, instead of going through all the hassle of schlepping carefully labeled samples to a lab dedicated to figuring out how to stop crop disease, which is what they in fact did. Unfortunately, it's somewhat common for researchers to move research materials without permits. I haven't done it personally because I did all my importing of foreign plant material and soil and bugs in my compulsive rules follower at BYU era, and the scientists that I work for already had really good permits that I could work under. But it's not unheard of, because crop health is just not given the same priority as human health, and so getting those permits can be really onerous and red tapey in ways that make it difficult to actually do. And bringing in agricultural research samples without permits usually works just fine, because TSA is looking for bombs and drugs, not seeds and little baggies of dirt. I posted about this on Blue Sky, and immediately multiple researchers chimed in and say, oh yeah, I know someone who's done this. Now, these scientists messed up. They 100% should not have imported samples without permits. The USDA has permits and quarantine processes for all this stuff for a reason. We should follow them, and they should work better too. Yes, these scientists should be disciplined for not getting permits. The criminal charges have a lot of text message logs showing that they plan to do crop protection research with those samples. And they knew they should have had permits. What these chat logs do not show is any plan to release this crop disease into the wild or onto farms. That's why trying to make a public example of punishing these folks isn't the huge victory for U.S. farms that a lot of folks seem to think it is. As the Michigan Farm Bureau is trying to warn us, if you've ever worked in a lab that studies plant disease, you'll notice very few Americans working there. I want to do medical research, but on potatoes is just not on the radar for most Americans as a career path. It's every bit as difficult as medical research, but it doesn't bring the pay or glory of curing cancer, which already comes with surprisingly little pay and glory. That means so much of U.S. crop health research is done by scientists who were born somewhere else and who work around the world. They may work for a few years in one country, work for a few years in another, because a lot of us are sharing the same plant diseases, so it makes sense to share knowledge as well. And we depend on these scientists in a big way. They make our dinner and our lives possible. If we're serious about protecting American agriculture, turbo jailing crop scientists for doing science is not the move. This whole situation really shows how agricultural illiteracy can turn a pretty everyday red tape problem into an international incident. The prosecutors are on record calling this a grave national security concern and talking about how aliens are smuggling potential agroterrorism weapons into the heartland of America. And honestly, that's mostly self-promotion. The more dangerous prosecutors can make these very normal, nerdy crop scientists sound, the easier it is for these prosecutors to run for office later on a I'm big, bad, and tough platform. That's why they're doing this. Anybody who actually works in agriculture can tell you this is what plant disease research looks like. You study the pathogens. Sometimes you need samples from different places to understand how a worldwide disease works. And yeah, there's paperwork, there's quarantine processes, and a lot of people have been ignoring it for a long time because crop disease is not taken as seriously as human disease, and it makes it very difficult to get those permits processed and through. We should be worried about that. But public freakouts about how foreign plant disease nerds are out to get us do not fix that. They're just a way for people to grandstand about how much they care about farmers, while we continue to actually do things that really, really hurt farmers in this country. We don't need a foreign agroterrorism plot to destroy our ag sector. We are doing just fine on that on our own. Thank you very much. So let's keep an eye on the ball, folks. Have a good day.